Kahr Arms just announced that they're finally releasing their X9 double stack pistol. Will this be the gun that everyone's been waiting for, or will this be the final nail in the Kahr Arms coffin? Hey everybody, Yankee here. I think everyone out there who's watched my videos over the years know I'm a big proponent of Kahr Arms and their little single stack striker fired polymer or all steel, depending on which model you get, handguns. They're little carry guns. The ones that are most popular are their little PM series, their CW series. You know, they're little thin single stack lightweight guns that are just easy to carry. And on top of that, have the best trigger of any striker fired gun, bar none. I mean, they were an amazing gun. I loved them, had lots of them. I've had CWs, I've had PMs, I've had MKs. I currently just have the K9. That's the only one I actually have right now, the 25th anniversary edition. It's the only car I have. But if I was going to carry a striker fired gun, like maybe a deep concealment striker fired gun, Kahr would probably be the first manufacturer I thought of. But, you know, a while back, they said they were going to start doing a double stack. Now, this has been a while ago. And the reason they were doing this is because they wanted to compete with the other manufacturers who were all doing small double stack guns. The Kahrs were still small and still really nice, but they didn't have the capacity of some of the other small guns coming around. So they thought, we'll do a double stack. Now, I wasn't thrilled about this. I said, I'm not sure this is going to hit your core audience. You know, it's going to actually attract them, make them want it. I think it might turn off more of your customers, your regular customers, because it'll be different. But, you know, I thought, well, you know, if they do it right, they put that trigger on it and it still looks good, I think it could be a success. But then I heard the trigger wasn't going to be the same. They were going to change the trigger a bit. And that was it for me. I was like, you mess with that trigger, you've just ruined the whole Kahr Arms name, because that is what your name is built on. That trigger is first and foremost the best thing about your guns. So when they said that, I was disheartened. But I was like, well, we'll see what they do. Well, the gun is finally out now. In fact, someone in my live chat tonight said it's out. There's reviews on YouTube. What do you think? Go check it out. So I did. You know, I went and watched a couple reviews. I went and checked on their website. And I did this thinking, you know, I'm going to do a video about, is this the gun that's going to save Kahr Arms? Because I've been worried about them going under for a while. Because it used to be, you heard a lot about them. They were very popular with people for carry guns, especially deep concealment guns. You saw them in gun shops. That ain't been the case for a while. You don't really see them in gun shops. No one talks about them. There's very few videos on them. So I was like, are they going away? I hate to see that. I wish I'd have kept the ones I had if they do go away. But, you know, I was excited today a little bit to see that they released the new one. So I went over, did my research, and now I'm like, yeah, no, this is not the gun that's going to save Kahr. It's not the gun that's going to bring them back. This might be the gun that kills them. Because if anybody else out there feels as strongly about Kahr and the way they did their pistols, you're not going to be interested in this gun at all. And if you're someone who just wants a higher capacity, small striker fired gun, well, I don't think this gun will be for you. It's a little too late, and it's a gun you're not familiar with. So I don't think you'll be interested. But the main reasons I'm not interested is I think they just undid everything that made Kahr great. Now, if you go and watch the reviews that are online, it's like they're reading from a script, because they keep saying, well, the trigger's basically the same. And remember, that's the number one thing about the Kahr, that trigger. The Kahr triggers on mine, the ones I owned, they usually came in between 4.5 and 5 pounds. This one right here is about 4.5 pounds. And it's just smooth as butter, nicest trigger on a striker fired gun. So I was like, hopefully they'll keep that. They keep saying, well, it's the same basic trigger. And I'm like, why do they keep saying same basic trigger? It's either the same trigger or it's not. Turns out it's not. Because basically it's 60 to 80% heavier, depending on what your trigger weight was on your old ones. Because now they're running between 8 and 9 pounds. They used to run between 4 and 5. That's a huge increase in trigger weight. And there's no way it can still be as smooth as it was with that heavier trigger. And just watching the videos, as I was watching them pull the triggers, I can hear things that I don't hear in my old cars. So I was like, they messed with the trigger. They didn't get the trigger right. I thought that maybe the reason that they teased it so long ago and then it didn't come out until now is because people went, if you mess with the trigger, we ain't getting it. So they went back to the drawing board and redid the trigger back like the old cars. But apparently not. Apparently it is not the same trigger. Basically the same is not the same. And 70-80% heavier is not the same trigger. And like I said, that was the number one thing about Kahr, the trigger. So if they messed with it, I'm not even going to check into this gun. I mean, I'll fondle it at the gun shop, but I'm not going to buy this. I might have bought it if it was just a Kahr Arms, only a little bit higher capacity now. But it is a little bit thicker. It does have a little more capacity. Instead of having like 7 rounds in a PM9, which is an amazing gun, you'll have 11 rounds now in this gun, which, like I said, isn't as amazing because it doesn't have the same trigger, obviously. And also, it's just not the same gun. If you look at the side of any Kahr Arms, like this one right here, one of the things you'll notice is it's nice and streamlined because it has that one takedown, combination takedown, and slide stop lever there. Doesn't have separate. On the new gun, it's got them separate. It's got a Glock-like slide release. That looks trashy. Doesn't look like a Kahr. Kahr's always had a little bit of class to them. Like, say, class with a K, since it's Kahr with a K. So that was always a nice feature. This gun just has a regular takedown, and I think they did that to save on width, so they don't have to say the gun is wider than they would have to say if it had that on there. So they don't have to say it's as wide as they would if that was on there. So I think that's one of the reasons they did it, but to me it just ruins the look of the gun and pretty much ruins the function of the gun. I don't want that cheap little slide release on there. I don't want that cheap little takedown pin. I want it the way cars used to be. And apparently, trigger's different, and then the design is different. So how is this still a Kahr even? I mean, it still kind of looks like Kahr. You look at the other side, it looks pretty much like a Kahr. But like I said, if it's lacking that trigger, doesn't have that nice takedown lever and slide stop in a combo form there, it just, what's the point? This isn't a double stack Kahr. You should have started another brand. Because Kahr Arms owns several brands. They own Magnum Research and BFR. So I think the company itself will still be around for a while, but I don't know about the Kahr series, the actual Kahr guns. And another thing that struck me when I saw this gun, when I saw the reviews, they've got this big silver plate stuck to the side of this black gun where the serial number and one of those little scan things is on. Big square plate just riveted to the side of the gun. I'm like, what the hell? What are they thinking? You know, none of my cars had that. If you look at my old cars, they don't have that big plate just stuck to the side of it. So I was ready to say, for that reason there, if I was looking for a pistol in a Kahr lineup right now, I would definitely get one of the PM9s or something, so I didn't have that. But then I looked at their website, and it appears like all their guns have that big plate stamped onto the side of it now. Not even stamped, it's just a big square just riveted on. And it looks like it could get bent up on the corners and start being a cutting hazard. So it doesn't look good to me. In fact, I just don't like the looks of it, period, much less whether it's quality or not. So all those things combined, that big ugly plate, the fact that they just completely redesigned the gun. I mean, it's not all that much thicker. It's like a little over 1/10 of an inch thicker. But still, it's not the same gun anymore. Takedown's different. Slide release is different. Trigger's different. It's got that big plate, riveted on the side there. I don't know what they were thinking. They had this gun in production for so long, and it seems like all they did was make it worse than it was when they first announced it. So I guess I don't have to get into a discussion here about whether, are you willing to accept a car that's not single stack? Are you okay with a car, that is a little bit different? But I don't have to even discuss that. I don't have to talk to the other car lovers and say, does this live up to the Kahr name? Because it's not even the same gun. I don't like the way they did the design now. I don't like that big plate on the side. And the fact that it doesn't even have the same trigger, no matter what script people are reading, basic trigger, same basic trigger, basically has the same trigger, same basic trigger, all that crap. Why bother? It's not a Kahr. So as far as I'm concerned, if Kahr's on the edge, this is not the gun that's going to save them. Because this ain't going to win over any Hellcat owners. This isn't going to win over any the small Smith & Wesson owners. It's not going to win over P365 owners. Because they're more established, and I think most of them hold more rounds at about the same size. And they're nicer designed than this gun. Because like I said, if it had been like a Kahr, it would have had that going for it. But it doesn't. And if it had that trigger, it had one big thing over all the other ones. But that trigger at 8 to 9 pounds, and other changes probably too, is just the thing that's going to kill this gun for me. I won't even be trying it. And as far as I'm concerned, this is probably the gun that's going to kill the Kahr Arms line.